Hey, Muffin here. So, you actually might be surprised at how this showdown turns out. These two German heavy tank beasts. Now, I had done 7 Mouse versus 7 E100 in a previous showdown, and the E100 took the cup. It won. But in this comparison, doing the VK72 versus the E100, it was actually quite funny because when we put the room together, we had tons of people that came into the room with E100s, but we felt lucky just to get 3 VK72s in the room. So we were able to switch out, I think, just about every player and give every E100 player a turn. Sorry, you'll hear my son in the background. I was actually very surprised. So a lot of people will play, he's just crawling around. A lot of people will play the E100. They'll go for the E100 and they're like, why even get the VK72? And a lot of people and even other YouTubers have voiced that they don't necessarily care for the VK72 or they don't like the VK72. In my personal opinion, I actually like the VK72. I have it. I've played both of them. I think they both have their strengths and weaknesses. And for me personally, I don't think one is really better than the other. I actually think they're quite balanced. A lot of people don't like those thin, weak spots on the side of the VK72's turret. So going into the differences between these beasts, the E100 does have a slightly higher DPM. Just because its rate of fire is a little bit higher. They have the same exact average damage per shot, using the same cannon, doing about 640 average damage per shot, using the same different type of shells. Now, in the Mouse vs. E100 video, my personal take on why the E100 won, even though I think the Mouse is still a good, capable tank, is the E100's heat round does a great job at just cutting through that armor, while the Mouse's APCR round it's a bit more difficult to cut through that. The heat round is does very well with that. However, the heat round is terrible against anything with spaced armor, which the Mouse has in some areas, but the flat and really big areas that are not spaced armor are easy to penetrate. So VK72 won the first round. Now going into the second round with some different E100 players just to see what happens next. And when looking at the E100, it has this really big squarish turret. And there's some pros and cons to that. When you're looking at an enemy head on, your turret is very flat. You've got really big side cheeks and it's very easy to penetrate. However, if you angle your turret looking just slightly over to the side so the corner is facing the enemy, your turret becomes extremely difficult to penetrate, but you have to be looking away from the enemy. The VK72, that's not necessarily the case. You don't have those big side cheeks, and as a matter of fact, you have a very similar gun mantlet to the Luva, which is huge, impenetrable, very cone-shaped, and basically takes up the entire face of the tank's turret. You do, like I said, you have those thin, weak spots, but the E100 loses that ability to utilize its slightly higher DPM because in my opinion, I think it has to take longer to aim at those weak spots. The VK72 also doesn't have as weak of a lower hull glacial plate like the E100 does. the E100's lower glacial plate is much easier to penetrate. And always in these face-hugging positions, it can be very difficult for other tanks to come across the VK72 in a position like that. Like the IS-7 not having a heat round using APCR and face-hugging with that tank being very low to the ground, it's going to have a hard time against the VK72. But the E100 is a big tank, and I'll use my third-person view in the VK72. Sorry, my son, he's kind of learning his voice a little bit more in the background while he kind of climbs around. He is such a climber. So now the E100 made a comeback in the second one. The score is now tied, and we're going to go in, see in this last round. We always do best out of 3. Now, because we only had 3 VK72 players, it's the same players in the VK72 in all 3 rounds. And in the E100 side, I think we're able to kind of switch out for the most part and give most people a turn that came in with the E100s. So I love these subscriber requests. Keep the ideas coming. If any of you want to help out with the video ideas or the rooms that we put together, join the Discord, get the movie crew roll. In order to get the movie crew roll, message any of the staff members on the Discord server. They can get that to you. And honestly, all are welcome to help. Also, anyone is all available to make and put their own rooms together. You have an idea? I have so many ideas sent to me, I can't even fulfill them all. So if you want to put your own room together, you can invite one of the staff members. You don't have to be on the NA server. You can be on the Russian, Asian, doesn't matter. Put a room together, put the scenario together, send me the vid on what you guys do, and your video could be posted on my channel. I think we always underestimate kids sometimes. My son, who is like 8 months old, is on the 3rd stair up, climbing, and he can't even walk yet. He can't even crawl, and he's already climbing the stairs, which is actually quite scary. Can't leave these kids alone just for a second. I think for those that have kids will know what I'm talking about. So as you saw right there, E100 trying to turn its turret, having to look away, can't be facing the enemy to get that shot off, needing to wait for the enemy to take a shot before facing that turret toward. Now he's not angled enough right there to bounce that round. So honestly, VK72 is a rare tank. I didn't think it was going to be as rare as it was, but I don't know. Maybe after you seeing this, I would love to hear your comments, what your opinions are on both tanks, your thoughts on how this showdown turned out and the VK72 winning. Obviously, a lot comes down to skill, but hope you guys enjoyed the vid. This is the Muffin here. You guys stay cool and keep tanking.